Representatives Seth Moulton and Peter Meijer are playing defense today after taking an unauthorized trip to Afghanistan, specifically to Kabul, where, as we found out today, 2 suicide bombings took place. Now, unfortunately and tragically, 12 US service members died as a result of those bombings. 60 Afghans died and 140 more Afghans were injured. But prior to that happening, both Seth Moulton, a Democrat, and Peter Meijer showed up because they, I don't know, wanted to do a PR stunt. Why were they there? Well, Moulton is super defensive and recently got interviewed. He said that he had requested permission to travel to Afghanistan multiple times in the past few months, but had been turned down. Moulton, a Marine veteran, said he was spurred to take the trip when he attempted to get 4 Afghan families out of Kabul on flights, managing to get 1 family out, he claims. Which, I'm just gonna say, I don't believe him. After they had gone to Afghanistan in this unauthorized trip, what was the message coming from both of these congressmen? That we need to remain in Afghanistan longer. That even if we remained in Afghanistan past the August 31st deadline and extended it to September 11th, it still wouldn't be long enough to ensure that we evacuate everyone we need to evacuate. Essentially beating the war drums, let's stay there as long as we need to. And I should also note, as I mentioned on the show yesterday, that Moulton has taken over $200,000 in campaign contributions from defense contractors, and that doesn't even account for the dark money that he's likely received from defense contractors. He also said the following during this interview with the Boston Globe: "I got several, not just families, but groups through the gates. It's amazing that people think this is about politics when it's about innocent lives and saving people who have given everything to us from torture and death. Every single person that we can get through the gates who is one of our allies, that is the difference between freedom and death." And then he also noted, because he has been scolded for this trip, the scoldings mean nothing when we're saving a few lives. But in reality, did they really save any lives? All they did was take up space on planes that were meant for the US citizens and Afghan allies were trying to evacuate out of the country.
Honestly, and I hadn't even thought about the fact that they had to take a flight back and take up 2 seats. That's probably 2 people dead because we couldn't fit them on a plane on the last day. And so maybe we get the great majority of the Americans out, but we're definitely gonna leave some Afghans behind, and apparently 2 more because of these clowns. He says, we asked many times and we were turned down. Well, that might be an indication of something. If somebody told me, as deeply incompetent as the Pentagon is, but they told me, hey, going to Kabul right now is not a great idea. It could put you in a lot of danger and could put others in danger trying to protect you, right? I'd probably take that pretty seriously. In fact, don't be ridiculous. Why are you going to Kabul in the middle of this mess? Just to try to seem like a hero? It's absurd. Of course, there was real safety issues. And in fact, as Anna said, what if they'd gone today? There's a decent chance that one of them or both of them would have been blown up. What are you gonna do? What do you, like in the middle of a bomb? You're gonna somehow fight off the bomb?
It's so ridiculous.
No, you're gonna die. So you got super lucky that you went on the right day instead of the wrong day. And you should just have the decency to shut up about it. So in terms of why they went, Moulton is saying, we went there to be superheroes and save lives, and I pulled people through the gates. What, the military wasn't gonna let him in the gates? Do you know something we don't know? Or is this people in specific that did not have permission and you pulled them through the gates? Or did they already have permission? And if they didn't have permission, why did you bring them in? Who are they? No answers to any of that, right? Instead, oh yeah, I was there, man, it was me. It wasn't the troops, it wasn't anybody else. It was me who saved their lives. Really? So then you ask Meijer, and Meijer has a totally different reason. This is the Republican who went with him.
We actually have clips of his interview with Bret Baier, and notice that he has different reasons for why he went. Let's watch.
You traveled there with Congressman Seth Moulton from Massachusetts. How did it come to pass?
Thank you, Brett. Both Seth and myself have been actively engaged on what's called the special immigrant visa issue. Those were visas in a program for individuals who had loyally served the United States in places like Iraq and Afghanistan. There have been a tremendous backlog of these cases. And in April, when President Biden announced that he was continuing the initial plan for withdrawal that started under President Trump, we urged the administration to address this backlog. We had to know what was going on the ground in Kabul. And we have not had the information we need from the administration, and realized that we were being lied to up and down, and we needed to see for ourselves. Right now, they have done everything they can to obstruct the situation, to deny this reality, and frankly, to hide facts from the American people. I'll be honest, I did not support the decision to end our operations on August 31st before I went. After talking with commanders on the ground, I trusted their judgment. And I believed it. That is what I want to take back to my fellow members of Congress. We're currently in Doha. We visited Al Udeid Air Base earlier, which is one of the largest staging operations for this mass evacuation. Again, to be able to report what is going on so that Congress can not only exhibit oversight, but share and understand what resources need to be provided to those who are on the ground right now so they can continue to save lives in this chaotic moment.
In other words, I just wanted to look out for my daddies who are helping to fund my campaign. And the defense contractors, that's certainly a factor in this. But the other factor is I just want to do the PR stunt, right? Because they want to sell themselves as these brave heroes who are somehow more competent in the evacuation effort than the troops we have on the ground and the personnel that we have on the ground. I mean, this is, again, like one of the most ridiculous, selfish, and like it's incredibly dumb to do this. And they're not the only ones. Apparently, there was a private jet that was full of, it had a congressional delegation that was trying to do the same thing. They luckily got turned back.
Yeah, this is, okay, so I can't stand photo ops. And so this is a glorified photo op. By the way, that applies to everybody. So Fred Thompson was a former actor and senator from Tennessee, and he used to drive up to campaign in his limo and get into a red beat up pickup truck and go around. And the press never told anybody that he actually came in a limo. They would do the photo op with him with the red pickup truck. And by the way, both the left and the right, when they go to the border and they just look at the border, and they're like, oh, this is the border, now I know. Yeah, I already know. I don't need to go and look at a piece of dirt and go, this is the border, right? It's just a photo op. And then when they go to war zones, it's the biggest photo op of all. I mean, McCain, Lindsey Graham, Joe Lieberman, they love that crap. They'd always go and they'd be like, we're so strong and brave. Everybody got the perimeter, right? Everybody's got the perimeter locked down. We don't want any, they probably cost people's lives trying to do extra protection and security for them. And like what Meijer says here, we need to see with our own eyes. What are you seeing with your own eyes? Are you walking around Kabul? Don't be absurd. What are you seeing with your own eyes? No, you're gonna be in it. And by the way, reporting is that they largely stayed inside the building, which is good, they should stay inside the building. But what did you see inside the building? Except for Moulton claiming that he went outside like a superhero and pulled people through the gates, right? It's just, it's politicians being at their cheesiest. And then finally, Moulton, there's one good piece of news here because Moulton in the last couple of decades would have been a classic establishment Democrat, and this cheesiness would have worked. So they love veterans who are pro-business and take endless corporate cash, and that's Seth Moulton. So like, if he ran in the 1990s or the 2000s for president, which by the way, you probably don't remember, but he ran for president in 2020, okay? If he'd run 2 decades before that or just a decade before that, he would have been celebrated. Oh, Seth Moulton, he knows, he's been to war zones. He's taken pictures there and he'll give business interests anything they want. That's how great Seth Moulton is. But now that stuff is so outdated. You have to be more sophisticated. You have to be a bit smoother liar like Buttigieg, right? And so when Moulton ran for president, you know what he got in every poll? 0%. Now remember that the margin of error is about 3% in a normal poll. So there's some chance Moulton might have been polling at -3%. That's how unpopular he is. So please spare me your opinion. P.S. I know there is no such thing as -3%. You get it. Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships.
You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.